Hey YouTubers, it's me, Lonnie Clark, Nuts for Art. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our path, our mission. I am going to be putting up this Spreaker podcast this week. I figured it out. I don't think it's that hard. I think anybody that wants to do a podcast, basically you send me an MP3. I think this would be the easiest way. Yeah, I have about 15 hours free because I've given it to somebody else. But if you send me a podcast, nutsforart at Gmail, and you want to do a podcast on Spreaker, I've been saying this, what I'll do is I'm just going to upload it because I'm going to be uploading some things, and just tell me what time of day and when you want it done, and I just schedule it in for, and I suggest that you pick a date and a time and keep it that way so that people can continue to find you, right? It's actually not that hard to post this up. I think it looks pretty easy. I've been doing tutorials. I haven't done a live show yet. I always get confused whenever I want to pull my hair out and I'm looking at the camera. I always want to do it backwards. See what I mean? Like, I know I part my hair on this side. I want to look in the camera, I want to pull it the other way. I also wanted to share with you some books that I got. I'm reading these other books. This is a Level 7, a horrifying prophetic document of the future, the diary of a man living 4,000 feet underground in a society hell-bent on atomic self-destruction, by Mordecai Rochwald. This was like 1959. Linus Pauling says this: in some ways this story gives the most realistic picture of nuclear war that I've ever read in any fiction. There is a possibility that the astounding series of events depicted by the author will in fact occur in a few years from now. So my niece gave me this book. I thought we'd read it, and then she gave me this book. I was like, wow. I'd never even heard of this book. This is 1981. So this is an eyewitness by Leslie Freeman, and she wrote it right after TMI, very shortly thereafter, and she thanks the author's notes. Who is she thanking? The acknowledgments. A lot of people, and a lot of people that we know still, right? Listen to this. Oh gosh. Well, I'll read it to you. I don't want to read you the forward now, but she thanks Arthur Tamplin, Peter Faulkner, John Goffman, Charlene Martin, Anna Mayo, a bunch of people, bunch of people. And she has this chronology of the history of events. And in the forward, it was really sad. In the forward, she said, well, I'm writing this because I think that if people will see this in a book, there won't be any more nuclear discussion. It's already well known. Well, that's 81. This is when Helen Caldecott had gotten like 1 million people in the streets. This is when the people stood up to the nuclear industry in the 80s and said no. This is when people were big anti-nuke activists. Big. Everybody said hell no to nuclear, right? But so the nuclear industry allowed us to squawk. They still got their money. Yesterday there was an article in the newspaper about in South Carolina, a leak on a closed down nuclear facility. I mean, it's a $9 billion. The company already got $9 billion. It's not like they're poor. They couldn't do it because they were broke. They couldn't do it because they don't intend to do it. This is why they don't intend to keep it safe. It's exactly like the child separation. It's just like them torturing these children and these families of asylum seekers and immigrants who come here illegally. They have no intention, zero intention of fixing the uranium, the leaking nuclear problems, just like they have no intention of reunited families and putting people back together again the way they were. They have no intention of that. beyond comprehension, but that is our reality, folks. 1981 that book was written. And they were hopeful. They said, well, if people will see what will happen, we'll shut it down. We didn't shut it down. You know what we shut down? Our awareness. Our willingness to talk about it. That's what's been shut down. The N-word. The N-word does not refer to any type of people. The N-word refers to nuclear contamination, nuclear pollution. Start talking about that and people's brains click right off. Click, click, click. Little brains that go click, click, click. Look, we have to be smarter. I don't know how we're going to get through it. I mean, honestly, at this point, I think I've been thinking a lot about this because I think we're here on purpose through this time. And I really think that if we can get people to believe that we can find the solutions, that we'll find the solutions. At this point, shutting people's brains down to even acknowledging it is not going to allow us to find solutions. Tweet on, you guys, because guess what? It's getting there. The vision for 2020, remember, Carl Grossman's book talks about vision for 2020. They are planning on being like, boom, coming out full force in 2020, which I think is super interesting considering they pushed for the Olympics to be in Fukushima in 2020, don't you? I mean, there are so many coincidences. These people are evil. They like numbers and they like dates. But you know what? Our good is stronger than their evil. And I really believe that. I believe that love is greater than fear, that our good is stronger than their evil, and that they're collapsing under their own weight. So what we need to do is hang on to each other so they can fall down and we can be standing. So that's what we got to do. I love you guys. Ciao.